So today we're building the Photon. It actually went live today. Starting price is $79 for wired hot swap, and then if you want wireless using ZMK, it's $89. So this is Cannonkeys' most recent board, most recent like affordable entry. However they want to spin it. But it's basically a board that is like affordable, right? Hello. Let's see. Okay, I don't know what color I got, but basically this is a, let me pull up the page. Oh, where's the page? Did I get pinged? Oh, did I get pinged? Okay, so Photon actually went live today. There's 4 colors. There's teal, coral, frosted, and smoke. I don't know what color I got yet, but this is designed by AI03, in case you guys have heard or know of their boards. Pre-order starts live today, or I guess, yeah, live today. But yeah, let's see what color we got. Oh, nice. We got the, I'm guessing the coral. Sorry about the ads. Frank made that command. Okay. Yeah, Frank made that command. I wonder how long they've been working on this. I feel like for injection molded things, usually, at least in the past, it's always taken a long time because like the molds, right? Take a long time and are also very expensive to make. So it kind of makes me wonder like how long it took them to do this versus like how fast injection molded cases are these days, right? Could be that this has been in development for a while, or could be that injection molded cases are just getting a lot easier and faster to make. Kind of curious about that. Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Basically like Omnitype spent a really long time, you know, getting the Bar Light, especially like the molds and whatnot. Spent a lot of money, a lot of years. So it's interesting that from Cannonkeys, we've been seeing a lot of injection molded stuff. So, for example, like the SAT-75X, and now you have like the Photon. There's also what? A Bakunego Go is also, right? But basically injection molded PC, right? And the plate is also injection molded. So the whole case and plate, all PC, right? Looks like for this board, it's going to be gasket mounted from what I can tell. Oh, it's kind of interesting. You have this battery module right here, but they've put the they've put the keys through there. But yeah, just a little bit about like injection molding stuff. I'm just curious if this was something they've worked on for a long time, or if it was more like injection molded stuff is getting a lot easier to do, especially with, you know, how many we've been seeing. But yeah, this is the Photon. So starting price is going to be $79. If you get the wireless, it's going to be $89. 65% all injection molded PC. 4 colors, right? This is a pretty cool color though. It says coral, which I would expect would be like a little bit more orangey, but it's actually a bit more red in person. Maybe it's like the lighting, but I can show you like, sorry, jump scare. When you have it in bright light, it is like more orange, but then like, you see, it does look a bit more reddish, but if you see it in the bright light, it does look more orangey, right? But I think coral is kind of a weird color to pull off just in general, because coral can either be more orangey or more red, but yeah, just looks more orange on camera, but in person it looks like a little bit more red to me, right? So you got the 65% layout, right? Nothing too crazy on the top. You do have this blocker. I know it might be like a little hard to see because the plate is the same way, but I'll just show you the case bare bones. So right here, yeah, top down does look more red. And in person, it looks a little bit more red than orange, but could be my eyes are deceiving me. But yeah, 65%, you got this nice like blocker, and it does actually have a curve on this front side, right? So the side bezels and this top bezels are all flat, but then this part is actually curved, right? So if you look on the side, sorry, the case is not screwed, but yeah, you can see that it's a curved top piece. And then here you can see it's like a little nice little lip. It's kind of interesting because with injection molded stuff, I feel like typically you don't really see like these, I guess, more like intricate shapes. But interesting, we're seeing like a mixture of, you know, sharpness and curviness in the case. But yeah, that's the side. You can see the bottom pieces poking out right here. Here's the back. The branding, you see Photon right here, and then the Cannonkeys logo. It honestly kind of just like blends in. There's AIO3's logo, but yeah. And the thing with these injection molded cases is that you see a lot of like the structure, so it kind of makes it so that the branding is all like blended in with the case, I guess. Like, it's noticeable still, but there's so many other things that kind of like take away from your eye that it's kind of hard. Like, so here you can see with like the bright light, which kind of like fades out like the internal structure. So here you can see like the Cannonkeys and the Photon. You do have these circles for the feet right here. So for feet, but yeah, that's the back side. I personally feel like if I got this board, I would just like sticker bond the back. But I guess that's just me. Here you have the front port, right? You got the USB, and then I'm guessing that's like a switch for like the wireless, perhaps. And then here you have the front lip. Hiccup. Oh no, did we die? Are we okay? No. Oh, we're okay. Hello. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. So Avo sent me something that I tried, but it also I have that, but it's not working. Like it's like connected via like the IP. And I've tried a few other things, but it's also like, oh, it says I'm dropping frames. Okay, looks okay. Yeah. I don't know if like Connor is doing something. Let me ask him. Sorry. Uh, yeah. He was watching a Discord stream and also watching a Twitch stream. Um, but that shouldn't like affect it too much, right? Seems like it might be okay. But I'm getting like that weird OBS error, so yeah. Dang. I'm sorry, interloper, if you're watching this. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Alright, I'm just gonna keep chugging through it. Um, but yeah. The thing with this case, though, is that the case screws are on the top. So you can see 4 on the top, 4 on the bottom, so a total of 8. You can kind of see it on the back right here, and I guess normally you would assume it screws in from the back, but it actually screws in from the top, right? And we can look at the internals. So here you can see, here's a top piece, right? And then here are where the screws would go, right? So you see the 4 on the top. and then the 4 on the bottom. And then here is the bottom piece, right? So you can see that the screws do have these threaded inserts right here. And then you have these walls on the bottom, I'm guessing either for structural integrity or sound, not quite sure which. And then you do have this like built-in battery case, right? Yeah, it is, it's not a space bar mounting point, it's it's just the screw, right? So you do have a screw point, but that shouldn't affect it. It does use the gaskets, where are they? It does use gaskets. But anyways, yeah, so you do have this cover, and the cover is actually screwed on too, right? This board's mounting is case gasket pour-ons. Let's see. I kind of expected... I guess they took it off. Huh. Hello, Trace. What's up? Okay, so for the bottom case, let me put it here. Well, Cannonkeys release an electron that is CNC next that you can mix and match with Photon parts. Joshua. You could ask them. Yeah. I'm kind of curious, like, do the gaskets just go on this? They might. Let me see. So, PC, it's pretty good. You know, it's like, at least these walls are like pretty thick, right? So yeah, it's injection molded PC. The reason I'm like, is it straight? The top piece is a bit curved, but it doesn't matter too much because you're gonna be screwing it on. Once you screw it on, then it's fine. The bottom piece looks straight, right? Looks fine. Did I figure out the pinging issue? Yeah, I had to force break it, ultimately, in the end. The other reason I'm like slightly... So, for this, I would have expected something like chips, but I'm guessing for the gaskets, they would go on the plate. So not necessarily the case. And the reason why it wouldn't go on the case is if you look, right, there are like the bars right here. So the pour-on gaskets wouldn't actually have like it would stick on here, but there's like too many gaps. So for this one, where you put the gaskets does matter. So you definitely have to put it on the plate so that it has like the space to stick on. Whereas if you were to do it on the case, there would just be like too many gaps, right? Yeah, this is a Photon. Yeah. I'm like trying not to be discouraged about my stream dying. I'm trying. But I'm so scared. I'm so scared. But anyways, yeah. So for this one, the gaskets do matter, right? Because sometimes with gaskets, you can kind of say like, oh, I just put it on the case, so I don't have to like put it on the plate. Or it's like, oh, I just put it on the plate, so I don't have to put it on the case. But in this case, you do have to put it on the plate because the case itself doesn't have like structural integrity for that, right? Yeah, I think this might just be like a brand new unit. I thought this was sent to me from like another creator, but That's why I was like confused. That's why I thought maybe it used like the chip gaskets, because I thought this was sent to me from another creator, but I think this is just new. Do they offer different plates anyways? No, since it's injection molded. I don't know if later they plan on offering, you know, like the plate file, but there's no different plates. And I don't know if they plan on releasing different plates. Let me see. They have like an extra page. Oh, actually, yes. They are offering different plates. They're offering an aluminum and FR4 and a carbon fiber. So you can get the coral PC, you can get the clear, the teal, or the smoke. So you have different colored PCs. But they're also offering aluminum, FR4, and carbon fiber. So in this case, like, you would hopefully they include the extra gaskets, right, with the plates, because you have to put it on the plate. You can't put it on the case. And that's why it matters knowing like what you should be putting it on. Sometimes doesn't matter, but in this case you would have to have another set of gaskets to put it on the plate, right? Because it's just not feasible to put it on the case. Did we die? Keep going? Okay. Okay. But anyways, so looking at the plate, right, is you have this cut right here on the space bar. And then there's a few interesting things going on. This cutout. What the heck's going on with this cutout? This I'm not quite sure. Like, you have like the normal like switch squares, but this looks like it's intentional. It is intentional. But I don't know why. I don't know why this is here, right? You can see like there's like these weird cutouts on the plate, but that's because of the case screws, right? So each of these dip are like a gap for the case screws that you can see right here. So you have room, right? And then when you were to close it, that's how it like secured in, right? But this one switch is a little crazy, but I don't know why. A little crazy cutout. Maybe they mention why that is. Let's see. Photon notes. Knob. You think there's gonna be a knob? It's interesting. We'll see. Okay, so let us look at this. So that's the plate. Plate, the only thing to really note is this weird like cutout. You do have this like sort of flex cut right here. It looks like it might have like these holes for like standoffs, and then the cutouts that are pretty dramatic are for the mounting. And then here is the PCB. Interesting. You have one large cut right here. Other than that, no flux cuts anywhere else. Here you can see, you know, the USB port is on the PCB, and then you have this switch, I'm guessing for like wireless, etc. But yeah, so it looks like right here you can see these are like standoff points, perhaps, right? Oh, I think Objective was right. This is a very weird thing right here. Oh, it actually is for a knob. Objective was right. Yeah, this weird cutout is for the knob. That's interesting. I've actually never seen a hot swap knob. But apparently you can get a knob module, and that's where it go. Also, it's interesting that they opted for the knob to go right here versus like in the corner, where's where we typically see it, right? But right here, you can see you can put a knob here if you want. Knob hot swap module. It must be placed in the shown location. Dang. Yeah, that's another really interesting thing to do, is that they've placed the knob in the middle, smack dab right here, instead of like on the corner. Not sure why. Maybe it's just like a design choice, but yeah, that's what it's for. Neat. But other things to note is, this is for the battery. Does it have a physical reset button? No per key, but it looks like there are LEDs on the back, so they're like tiny. They're teeny tiny right here. It is on the back, right? But no per key. In the front, looks like there's a little light right here. I'm guessing this is like an indicator for whenever you change it. But yeah, the hot swap layout is pretty much set. Like, you don't have any options, right? But yeah, just this one large cut right here. You see the standoffs. That doesn't use a daughter board, right? You have the switch right here. But we saw this on the case. And then you have these cutouts on the PCB, and this is for like the case. So yeah, cool. So I do have a battery. I do have foam. So it looks like you have the case foam, and then you have the plate foam. Do we want to use... I mean, I'll just do it with and without foam since we only have one plate, but let us just build it. But yeah, that is the board deconstructed. I'm gonna do the stabilizers. Yeah, 6.25. Ugh. Oh, let's see. You have to do left shift. You have to do the enter. No split backspace. Smooge. You have to do that. Also, I was not sent an encoder unit, so I can't demonstrate how that would work. But hot swap encoder, pretty interesting. These, they just sent cherry stuff. So I do have to like cut these. Yeah, lettuce. So how many of you guys are actually considering getting this? of interesting. I do enjoy AIO3 designs. Tab content, yeah. I do have to clip these, so so I'm gonna be like upfront with you guys. Is so there this you can get, oh wait, are my notes wrong? Basically this starts at $89, right? For the wireless PCB. I'll be real with you guys, I don't use wireless like ever. So I'm probably one of the worst creators to ask about like wireless life or like battery life. They're using ZMK for this. And the last time I used ZMK, it wasn't really quite ready yet, but from what I've seen, like from what they've developed, it is a lot more user-friendly here, right? And they're saying it's supposedly supposed to have 4,000 plus hours of battery life. I do remember with like the Bakaneka Go, they mentioned like, oh, if you turn on RGB, it's gonna like not last as long. Which makes sense, but if I remember correctly, it like dramatically cut it in like more than half, right? But they're claiming that if you don't turn RGB on, the battery for the Photon will last more than half a year. I don't know if that means like, assuming you're like dailying it every single day. But pretty interesting. I unfortunately don't use wireless that often, so I can't tell you like how latency is. I don't use wireless keyboards. As like a WoW gamer, when I used the wireless keyboards, there was like latency, so I couldn't do that. So I do want to be upfront that, you know, if you're looking to get this for like the wireless, I don't know how long I get to keep the board, right? So if I'm able to test like the wireless for an extended period of time, that would be good, but usually I don't get to keep the boards that long, and plus I don't use wireless in the first place, so it's one of those things where like I can test the latency, but it might not be like accurate, especially over like a long period of time. And also I don't typically use wireless boards, but at least for the pricing, it seems like it would be a good quote unquote beater board, I suppose. Also, I'm clipping these. I got lucky with the wires, fortunately. And Cannonkeys has like sent me some notes about like the battery life and how to use it, but just want to be upfront with you guys that I typically don't use wireless keyboards. Yeah, they said it's like half a year assuming you don't turn on RGB, but I'd have to look in my notes like how much that changes like if you do use RGB. Yeah, I'm so stressed with my stream dies. We just don't think about it, right? Having your stream die is like the worst feeling as a streamer. One of them, I should say. No, I didn't. Okay, they've all been trimmed. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, I mean, I've read some mangas. I mean, honestly, it's sometimes hard to read because it is not colored, and I've been spoiled with color. I mean, back then, yes, I read a lot, but nowadays it's like pretty much only webtoons. Also, actually read so far ahead in Solo Leveling before I stopped, and knowing like which arc they are right now, like I feel like it's gonna be like 3 or 4 seasons before they get to where I am. Unless they happen to skip like certain arcs. They are, yeah. I never watched so I've read Tower of God, but I never watched the anime. But maybe I should. Tower of God was actually a little hard for me to start. Right? Like the concept was always like super abstract to me in the beginning. And then it kind of like made more sense once you read it more. But I'm kind of curious like how they translated that all, you know. Like it's not good or I mean, to be frank with you guys, like when I first read Tower of God, I was just like, what the hell's going on? Like, I don't get it. And then as I like read more, I was like, okay, I mean, I kind of understand it now. I mean, the webtoon I feel like has similar vibes. You know, like it's just a bit confusing in general. For me, it's almost like one of those like fever dream things that you read. Like you're like reading it, but you're not quite like perceiving it, right? Like God of High School, did that not come out well? I honestly forgot they made that. Super compressed and rushed, I see. I mean, a lot of webtoons are kind of like that, just in general, right? Like the pacing makes sense for a webtoon, but it doesn't necessarily translate well to like a show, right? Like for example, Made in Abyss. I think the reason why Made in Abyss was like the pacing in Made in Abyss is like awful. Like the manga pacing is pretty like ambiguous. Um but I think the animation did a really good job kind of like filling in the blanks. But if you're just making a show like with the same pacing as like the webtoons or the manga, especially if it's not good, then yeah, it's gonna feel like rushed. Hi Dave, what's up? My stream keeps crashing, so if it if it dies, you know, sorry. Yeah. I think in that sense it's up to the studio to kind of like it's tough because do you follow, you know, how the webtoon goes? Or do you as as like the director, you know, take a more like creative stance and like try to, you know, improvise on where certain gaps might be. And I think sometimes it works out well, sometimes it doesn't. And you see that in stuff like for example, Full Metal Alchemist. Like the show caught up to the manga. And so they just kind of like made their own thing, right? Uh like their own interpretation. But then whenever the actual manga like caught up, then they remade it. So like Brotherhood, right? And I personally I know like people be like, "Oh, Brotherhood is like way better." And it's like, well, it's one of those things where they had to, you know, take their own like creative direction because it, you know, wasn't caught up. But I don't see why people would complain because you end up getting like two variations of the story that's like pretty cool, right? If anything, like fans should be happy because then you have like um you have more of the story to enjoy, you know, it's not just straight up, you know, following the manga. And like people will shit on it, but I think that's like more fun, especially if you enjoy the universe. Like it's interesting to see. Like yeah, it might not be as good, but sometimes it might even be better. But you'll see people get mad because you know, oh, they didn't follow the novel, they didn't follow the manga. Like that's, you know, why would they do that? And you're always gonna have like haters that don't like if you deviate from it, right? But then I don't know. It's hard. And people are always gonna be mad. Ad break, yeah, I um I turned on the thing so I would know when there's like an ad break, but all it's made me realize is that Twitch plays a lot of ads. What the heck? It's kind of like they're forcing you to get like turbo, especially if you watch a lot of streams. But yeah, that's my little not even rant, but basically like I think it's hard with webtoons because of the nature of how it is. And sometimes it might be hard to translate into like a show. And Solo Leveling, I guess, is doing like a good job, but there was one thing I noticed, like the pacing in Solo Leveling is good, but the timelines are like a little weird because you don't realize like how much time has like lapsed, right? Until they have to like say like, oh, it's been like a year, oh, it's been like a week, right? Otherwise, a lot of things don't feel like they're progressing as fast as you might think, right? So I think that's one thing. It's been a year. A year, hasn't it? Almost a year. Yeah, that's the thing, is like they don't really explain it well. So you might think that, oh wow, like how did he get so strong? Oh yeah. This is actually a playlist. Do you want it? Just block them? Yeah, that's what I do. Da, 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 da. Here, share this playlist. Oh, thank you. Yeah, of course. But yeah, I mean, you might think he's like gotten OP like in a short amount of time, but he has in that sense, but it's not like, you know, it's not been like a week, it's been like 6 months. I think the solo leveling story is as good as the opening storyline set up for. Like, hold on, let me reread that. Don't think the solo story is as good as the opening story. Okay, so yeah, so solo leveling, I think it did the Goblin Slayer, right? It was kind of the thing where I don't want to say it's like the shock value. So same with like Shield Hero, but it kind of prefaces the story as, it's gruesome in the sense of like, what happens, and then you're kind of like, whoa, right? But then the story really like starts to quote unquote mellow out, and it's something you see that a lot of like OP characters suffer from. It's that, the adversity and like the troubles they like go through, right? Um it it kind of all seems like irrelevant because like how fast they get strong, right? I mean, I think there was, so like the beginning did a really good job of like showing like, how dangerous these things can be, right? And then I think the other part that they did really well was showing like him kind of losing his emotions once he like had to, once he did that raid with the people who were trying to kill him. But then after that, you go through like two pretty dramatic and traumatizing events, and then it just all kind of like mellows out, right? Like he just gets OP so fast that you just you just like kind of know that, he's just so strong, right? It and it's the same thing you kind of see in like One Punch Man, like they have like the story of like how he got strong, but then he gets so strong that everything is like same-ish. And I feel like a lot of a lot of like stories similar to that, you know, it just kind of loses that magic because they're so strong. You're like, okay, they're gonna be fine, right? Like they're not gonna die. Like he's so OP, right? Yeah, I mean, and at least solo leveling, it's kind of more like it's kind of like they it's not necessarily cool. I agree with Mord said. It's like you see he kind of loses a part of like his humanity as he like starts to become like so desensitized. I have read the webtoon, but I haven't read all of it, right? Um, but I guess I feel like if it if they really wanted to go into it, they would go more into like his like psyche slowly breaking down, right? And you can see there's still some part of him that like is like quote unquote the like boy he was back then, right? But I think part of like being what he is a part of, he's like slowly losing his humanity, and I think that's what they're trying to portray. But then again, I've read the webtoon, so you know. Yeah, I mean, One Punch Man was, you know, designed for that. It's making fun of like those shows, but for shows that are more serious like that, then, you know, after a while, I feel like, yeah, it just kind of gets like boring because they're so OP. Like, you know, they're not gonna like die. I'm more so interested in learning about the lore of the game player. Yeah, thick art. They may have set it up. We're left with the boring protagonist, so emotions. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the arc we're going through right now, right? It's definitely a struggle for like the shows where the character's so strong, you know, I have something happen. When I'm not watching like my serious animes, I have been watching this like don't don't judge me, but there's this show on Netflix about it. It's just gonna sound so bad, but it's a show about this vampire who is waiting to suck the blood of an 18-year-old male virgin. And it's just kind of like a slice of life about how he's waiting for this guy, this boy he's been like preying on for years to like get to the ripe age. But the boy is falling in love, and the vampire's like acquired taste is making sure that he's like pure, you know, stays a virgin. And it's just like a show about how he's trying to like navigate that and making sure like he stays pure. And it's bad because like yeah, it's like almost low key like grooming, but they, you know, it's a vampire dynamic, right? And it's a comedy. No, it's on Netflix. I just it's a funny show, but you like as you watch it, you're kind of like, wow, this premise is like kind of fucked up, but the show is funny. I know. And if it weren't like prefaced as like a vampire, I know it sounds bad, but it's on Netflix. Let me grab these switches here. I mean, there are a lot of like messed up animes like that. But this one is about a vampire who is like trying to make sure that his dinner doesn't fall in love. Yeah, I'm gonna do with foam first. It's an anime on Netflix. If you guys are interested, it's pretty funny. I think I'm gonna do the gaskets first. Yeah, let's do gaskets first. Oh, where'd you buy it from? Yeah, I do like slice of life. I'm watching it's kind of like anti-grooming him. Yeah, so the premise is that he's been waiting 10 years to eat this boy. So he like goes undercover and like works for his family's like bathhouse and basically like sees him as like this pure it's kind of like you know, like growing like your cow for like wagyu meat, right? You put so much love and you're really making sure that it like has like the right diet and everything is like good. So in essence, the vampire views this boy as like wagyu beef that he's been waiting for 10 years, right? Because he's a vampire, like it's just his thing. Like he has a very specific like victim that he likes to, you know, suck the blood from. And so he's been waiting 10 years for it because, like, you know, they live forever. Um, it's just his preference, okay? And then, like, everything is going well, but then he falls in love and he's like, oh, this, my dinner that I've been waiting for 10 years cannot fall in love. Like, no way. But it's funny because, like, the boy falls in love with this person, with this chick, but then the chick falls in love with the vampire. But the vampire, you know, wants the boy. And so it's like this weird and funny like dynamic. I don't know. I don't know if that's how vampires do things. I'm not a vampire. I don't know. It's definitely a weird anime. It's definitely a weird one, but ultimately the vampire is going to eat the boy, but he's just making sure that he doesn't do anything bad beforehand. It doesn't work, yeah, because you're mod, unfortunately. Okay, so this goes on the top and bottom. I hope like yeah, Cannonkeys isn't watching this and being like, oh my god. What kind of anime is Patty watching? I promise it's it sounds really bad, but it's a funny show. Oh, does it? I haven't watched the latest episode. Um I've there's one there's one that I watched that I've been watching like lemon soda. That one's like kind of making me mad. I think I just don't like the whole, you know, Um, uh, the like Happy Marriage. You know how like the main character, like she's obviously very timid because of like years of like mistreatment, abuse, but I don't like that trope, and like the character just shows like no character development. Like they're just like that forever, and then the other characters around her or around him have to like protect them, but there's like never any actual like, they become like badass, like they're just always like timid and like, shy. I think I have a hard time watching those because I expect like character development, but they're just always the same. Yeah, no depth of character. I do have like a hard time watching that. Oh, so let's talk about the mounting while I'm here. But basically, your gaskets, you have two small ones and then two big ones on the top. So four, but the bottom one is different. You have two small ones and then you have three. So um you have one, two, three, four, five, five. Yeah. Does that make it more realistic? I don't know. Like, it depends. No, this top one is not a gasket. No. I I don't know if it makes it more realistic. Honestly, if I'm watching something, I don't really watch it for like realism, but I guess it depends like on the show. Yeah, so you can tell it's not a gasket because it's actually smaller. No, we're not talking about that. I like how yesterday Avo got so confused because Frank was like, I can't watch this show and edit. I can't read and edit at the same time. That Avo got confused because like Solo Leveling is a Korean webtoon, but the show is in Japanese. So Avo was like, Frank, why don't you just listen? We're like, no, it's Japanese. And he's like, but the webtoon, it says here it's Korean. And it's like, yeah, it's a bit confusing. I just don't know if like Korea has like animation studios like Japan does. So these are like really thick gaskets. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't think Japan or Korea has like the same as Japan, right? So look, so you can see this pokes out more. Yeah, yes. Solo Leveling is a Korean webtoon. Yeah, they are. Yes. I mean, maybe. Do you think Korean Chinese animation studios will make it big in the next 5 years? No. I think Korea, for one, is too invested in their K-pop industry because that's where they're thriving, right? So why would they diverge that to like animation when like Japan has like such a strong monopoly on it? also Korean media with their monopoly on like internet and like streaming services, I feel like it's not good for like a global thing, right? Um, so I don't think Korea. China, maybe. China has been, ramping up. And like you can actually see some of those shows on like Crunchyroll. How do you mean? So I don't know if you guys know this, but basically like Korea's control on the internet and like streaming services is a bit different than how it's like handled in say like America. And one of the like big driving forces like why like Twitch was charged so much and like Netflix, right, is like Squid Games, right? Um I don't know if it's like exactly only Squid Games, but it's Squid Games was like a big, proponent of, like a lot of people like streaming it and the Korean government not having like a monopoly on that. Um and so like we saw like the repercussions of it, right? Like Twitch saying like it's way too expensive, like you're charging way too much, right? So I think, for Korean animators in that sense, if like another big show were to blow up and they weren't able to monopolize it, but you have to do it more of as like a global thing, I just don't see them like, wanting to like give out that. So I don't know. It's hard. Okay. And like Japan has such a strong like grasp on animation. I think China has like the biggest chance to kind of like become bigger, but I think at least for Korea, they're just gonna focus on like the K-pop stuff. Because you have a lot of, aspiring K-pop people um, from like Thailand, China, Hong Kong, going to Korea to become a K-pop star. I lost money gambling. Ugh. How are we gonna help you? And there's been policies in China lately trying to boost domestic entertainment. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna like limit, but and also I think, how the US is going with all our international people, I feel like holy shit. Oh my god. It's over, guys. It feels like it's over. Maybe I'm just being dramatic, but I feel like our international relationships are not looking too hot right now. Okay. Patty clearly has a kill switch. I had to just close OBS or reopen it. Nangjingu Daskete. I probably said that wrong. But something along that line. Also, stream is back now, right? Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. One thing to note is that all these sockets on the top are flipped. You know what, Couple? These were sent to me from QK. I feel bad for everyone who signed up for the going live pings. They're probably getting pinged out the wazoo. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what's happening. I'm just sad. I'm sad. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's that one. Wow, Mochin. You found that so fast. Thanks. Yeah, so one thing to note is that all the hot swap sockets here are flipped. Pippin, are you back home? I'm guessing they flipped them because of the case. Because if you look here, if these were like flipped, it would be too close to the case screws, right? So if you look right here, because this is the cutout for the case screws, but if you were to flip it, it would then hit it. Oh, Mango! Thank you for the 76! Happy New Year's to you. Happy Chinese New Year's! Gongxi Fatai. Yeah, because he's Mango Wong and I'm Patty Wong. I did say a Mandarin. You just didn't hear me. Yeah, 恭喜发财. Gong hei fak choi. Viet. I am Viet. Japanese. I ain't Japanese. I mean, some Japanese, but not quite. Say with your chest? No. Alright. Face screws, here we go. I know, I built this keyboard in like 7 minutes. Are you guys proud of me? Patty? Yeah? It freaks you out? Okay, I'll change it next stream. Also, for you guys' reference, the battery module does have threaded screws too. Nice scalp. Oh, thank you. Next hair dye. That's a good question. I don't know. Coloring hair is expensive. I'm trying to save money. Then I don't want to go to Vietnam this year. With all the plane crashes that are happening, I'm like super freaked out. Vin, we can't just swim. You can swim, not me. Bruh. Can't believe Finn is like, we can just swim. How would I think? I don't know. You like teleported or something? Okay, something. Might have to compress this really hard. Yeah, I have to compress this pretty hard. Yeah, there's been like 4 crashes. Like, I'm just gonna stay at home for the next 4 years, okay? I'm scared. Then I'm like 30 years old. I'm past that prime. I can't do it. Yeah, I was on the swim team when I was like freaking 13. I ain't 13 no more. I'm too old. This screw is a little weird. Let's see what I could do. Let me see if this one works. It's much better, yeah. Nah, it was like at a weird angle. But using the straight tool's a lot easier now. Yeah, so like once you screw it in, then the top part like aligns a little bit better. Yo, chat, should I buy the Neo 65? I guess it depends on what you're trying to look for. There's there are different Neo CUs or 65s coming out, so yeah, I'd say it depends. It's not bad. QK boards are pretty decent, especially like if it's one of your first or like second boards. Fuji 65. I would definitely recommend, at least in terms of like build quality, I think the UK is probably a little better. Fuji 65 is a little underwhelming. Shelby 65, thanks for the follow. I know there's a Shelby TKL that came out a while ago. Is there like a new one? Yeah, I didn't realize there's like a new one. Also, as a disclaimer, those who are joining in, my stream has been in and out, right? So, something weird is going on with like OBS, so that's why like it feels bad. But yeah. But in case stream dies, I will come back. It's just something's going either with my OBS or the Twitch servers in Texas are being really janky. At least in Austin. Do you have a link for the Shelby 65? Also, what keycaps? It's a red. Oh, thank you. Shelby 65, 239. You know, I remember Hammer got a Shelby 80. It's kind of interesting they decided to after this time. Huh, interesting. Any boards that match Mizu keycaps on WS site? Let's see. Mizu. A lot of these are like all sold out. Alex built one. It turned out pretty good. Mm, let's see. Mount is poor on gasket. Interesting. So here's my thing, is that there are so many 65% boards that I think unless you really like the aesthetic of like the Shelby, $239, pretty competitive still with at least the boards that are out there. Um, and it looks like well designed, but I don't know, it's like in a sea of 65s, like I think unless you like the aesthetic, it's a prong gasket mounted, right? And if you like the colors and like the two-tone contrast, the navy is really nice, I will admit. Looks like the red is all red. Oh no, it's just a side profile. Yeah, I mean, if you like it, it's a competitive price. If you watch the views, you like how it sounds. Um, it's interesting that the PCB is 1.2 non-flex cut. It's not bad, it's just something to note. Um, it's, yeah, the inside's very interesting. Yeah, as someone who hasn't built one of these in terms of like, if I were a consumer buying it, I would only consider it if it's like, I really like the color or how it looked. Um, it's just hard. There are so many boards, at least 65% boards, kind of around the same price these days that Shelby 80 had a lot of hype because it was one of the first like in stock drops, right? A lot of people camped out for it. Ultimately, I don't know like if people were happy with it. So yeah, if you like the way it looks, if you like the gasket, if you like the colors, then the price is competitive for sure. Looks like you can only do hot swap. Interesting. Um, Also let me grab keycaps. Classic red. this. Alright, now that was kind of like a long-winded answer, but it's just so hard with all the 65% that are coming out, right? Who put plastic plate? PC plate. Plastic plate. I guess it's not wrong. Oh yeah, it's PC. You good. Okay. Thank you, Capo. Modric, yeah. You guys actually enjoy being mods? Sometimes I wonder. I know it's like a responsibility I kind of threw on you guys. GMK Cinder. Whoa. I don't know if I've ever seen that. Oh. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen this. Must be like... This is a very old set. 3 years ago. For your Tony's mod? I have a lot of mods. My mods have like shifts, it feels like. Some days one mod will do work, other days another mod will do work. Classic Red is no longer in stock. I'm sorry, guys. uh, who read Classic Red? Was it Popcorn? I think it's Popcorn. Yeah, GMK Honey is an old set too. There's like a lot of these like quote unquote like alert sets now. You guys like the alert sets? I do remember actually, yeah, because I bought my VO87. They're oversaturated. Think so? But GMK Lilies did not make it. Like I know Hippo didn't make it too. The designer of Hippo said something about like there was a lot of like anti-group buy sentiments during like the icy feels bad. Yeah, Diego did blue alert, yes. I mean you can't do anti-group buy with GMK. It doesn't work like that. I mean, unless GMK is doing like in-stock sets like that for designers, actually. No, people are saying that they don't want group buys. They want like the designer to like pay up front for the sets and do in-stock drop. But I don't think you can even do that with GMK. Do they allow that? Okay, that's that's NK. Like it? Okay. Ben says he doesn't like this dust mat. I think GMK does care about like IP stuff though, right? Like you can't just do anything that would have like IP infringement. What the heck is this? Where'd I get this? Oh, okay, never mind, no. I got it from my chip bag. I thought someone sent it to me. I was like, why do I have this clip? Sure. I mean, maybe if you don't make it obvious that it's anime, right? Yeah. Oh, I have GMK Hero. Okay, so this is with the, this has case foam, or this is plate foam. Plate foam, GMK, classic red. Okay, cool. Alright, so today we have the Photon. This is a PC injection molded board from Cannonkeys that went live today. We're using their PC plate. It uses gasket, Photon gasket mounting. We're using these QK01 switches. It does have plate foam, and this is GMK Classic Red. Okay, what do you guys think? Liked it? So this is without the case foam. I'll do the case foam next, and then we'll do it without foam, and then with case foam only. So, yeah. It's nice because you can see where like the screw points are, so technically like all you would need to do is take off like the certain keys, right? You don't have to like take it all off. So you just check, okay, it's gonna be right here, and then it's gonna be right here. Yeah, so I'm gonna be doing 4 sound tests. So this is this is plate foam, and I'll do one with both foams, and then I'll do one with just case foam, and then I'll do one with no foams. So 4 sound tests. Oh. Yeah, this is plate foam only. Well, maybe I don't use this. That's like pretty tight on here. My artisan. That's always scary. Thank you, couple. Sorry to make you guys work late today. Okay, so when you're putting this together and taking it apart, so the Photon gaskets are pretty thick, so you do have to compress it quite a bit, but just, you know, be careful. While these are threaded, right, you just want to make sure you don't like go too tight, but just as like a heads up that there was like compression needed to make sure that you could like properly screw the board together. Oh look, what's up? Imagine making us work late. Isn't it like morning or afternoon for you, Elvin? So if you're just joining in, my OBS keeps crashing. So if I like randomly disappear, I'll come back, but it's been on and off all night, unfortunately. Yeah, there's 4 screws. But it's all on the top, so you don't have to like flip anything. Okay, I'm going to put this right here. Me? Oh my gosh. It goes bottom right here. Okay. Right? No, that doesn't seem right. I think I have to flip it. No. Like this, yeah. It's just the one they sent me. Yeah. No, it's this way. You know, I never built a Vega. Was Vega the same mounting points or whatnot? Yeah, so the mounting points are, I don't know if you guys can see this, but you have 4 on the top, but you have these 2 big ones and then these 2 small corner ones, and no gasket right here. And then the bottom, you have 3 big ones and then 2 small ones. So you do have a gasket in the middle. I did celebrate my Chinese New Year's today with my family. I think my mom was like pretty happy. My family history is like kind of interesting. So, have you guys ever heard of like grandparents like taking, you know, like your firstborn child to like raise them? That's basically like what happened to my oldest aunt. It's more common in like Asian families, at least back then. It was my dad's side, my mom's dad's side, sorry. But basically what I'm trying to say is that my mom was just happy to see like, so one of my aunts lives in Arlington. I do have one aunt that's in Austin, but they didn't really grow up together, so they're not as close. And the one she's close to lives in Arlington, and like it's been a long time since they've all 3 of them gotten together. So yeah, my mom's sister, yeah. So I think she was like really happy like seeing both sisters, both her sisters, right? We never really get to see my aunt or my aunt that lives here because she works like 6 days a week. So this is the first time we've all been like together as like a family in like years. 건강해 박초이. My mom was a mom before having actual kids. She had to take care of my cousins. I see. Avo? You're awake? Okay, typing. Okay, so this one is with case and plate foam. Alright, here we go. So this is with case and plate foam. Okay. This is a pretty nice combo. What do you guys think? Now I'm going to take it apart and we're going to do case foam only. Oh, but we got like 2 more sound tests. You have your marbles back? Yeah. Come get it. It's not even the Vega killer. I don't think you can even buy Vega in this day and age. I mean, it is the foam build. Well, this one comes off easily because this stem is really tight, and also it's hot swap, so. But as you can see, it was pretty much only this one, and that's because this is very tight, the stem on this one. It's actually not like necessarily a bad thing if your switch comes out as you're like pulling it off, because there's like different factors. Like the stem could be like too tight. I'd say it's a bad thing if like your switch comes loose while you're like typing. But It's not like a bad thing if while you're pulling the keycaps off for the switch to come out too. Yeah, I mean, earlier someone was asking me about like the Shelby 65, and it's so hard to like tell you whether or not it's like good or not, because one, I haven't built it, but it's like there's so many 65% boards out there. It's hard for me to judge unless there's like things that are like, you know, it's a little bit difficult to build, or for example, like one board I built recently that I thought was like a little bit of a like pain in the butt was the AK-75. Just like the nature of like how you have to disassemble and reassemble the board. But really pretty board overall. Oh. But I mean, I think at least knowing like your experience as a builder helps like when picking out like a board too. Because if you're a beginner and you buy a board that you really want, but it's like hard to build it, you know, it kind of takes the magic away from it, you know. Because you're either like, wow, I built this, like, holy shit, I'm so proud, or you're like, wow, I finally built this, like, it wasn't even worth it in the end, you know. Matter of like perspective. And so sometimes just like judging the board based on like how easy it is to build and set up and reconfigure, right, I think does make a big difference when picking out like a board. Hey Suzu. Hi X. And also like how easy it is to like, you know, especially if there's like multiple mountings, how easy is it to open it, right? Yeah. Like, for example, yeah, like the Jane could be like a dream board, but if it's like a pain in the ass to assemble or disassemble, it's like, you know, while it may be your dream board, it could be like something that's way easier. It's just better suited for you in the end, based on like what you're trying to do. So it's sometimes it's hard. Oh yeah, Polygon 7, did you get one? I just released my YouTube video on that. Yeah, that's also the thing with keyboards is like based on how you build it, it could like make or break a board, in my opinion. Oh, Gordon. Damn, if only you lived in the US. I got these sick toper patches. I'll just send you one. Brother. Sorry. I sent one to Randy and CG. Yeah, it's a toper patch. Sick, right? Oh, nice. I'm glad my video convinced you. Oh, that switch is gone forever. Do you guys see they made like a McDonald's Leatherman? I needed a break from the custom alley play I got on your Envoy or Tiger Light. Like the jacket you see, like the football players wear like high school. Yeah, Leatherman. I don't know what I said. Yeah, I did yesterday. They were alright. I feel like Frank kind of had like a heart attack based off like how my builds are going yesterday. Yeah, I got mine senior year. Or no, I actually qualified to get it junior year, so I got it junior year. So grade 11, year 11. Yeah, that's the thing with like keyboards is that your build and your plate can like make or break it. Yeah, I got mine through band. I had enough hours through band to get it my junior year because I double blocked up until senior year. You know, Avo, I saved up for the Letterman, but I didn't buy the yearbook. The yearbook was like $90, and I was like, hell no. Like, why spend $90 on this? Yeah. Yeah, yeggs. Yeah, I played flute piccolo, but for concert band I played mainly piccolo, and I did dabble in percussion, so I did like timpani. Because sometimes you just don't need a goddamn piccolo in the song. I feel like piccolo is one of those things where it's almost like an oboe, you know? Like, this song could do well without an oboe, without a piccolo. So then I would go to play percussion or I go to flute. I have my Letterman. Bass clarinet, nice. Did you know we had, well, some schools had bass clarinets and marching band is so crazy. It's basically just a saxophone at that point. Did it end? No, it's just quiet. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I live for Friday night football games, not because like the football games, but because um I enjoyed going with the marching band and like performing our show because ultimately Friday night halftime shows were like our time to shine and like all our like early morning practice, you know, we got to showcase it. But I mean, if I wasn't in band, I definitely want to go to football games. Like, fuck that. Yeah. I mean, and it was weird because like I went to high school in Texas, and like Texans are very serious about their football. And like I went to UT too, and my like ex-boyfriend like would make me get like the sports pass and go to the games with him, but I honestly would just be so tuned out. But I went because, you know, he wanted someone to go with him. Definitely I watch football, but like to this day I'm still like, huh? Like yeah, where I like dancing with my band and whatnot. Yeah, I was also, you know, school in Texas, so we take our football very seriously. Oh, we didn't have bass guitar as an option. Oh, I got out at 4:05. Oop. I mean, I started at like 9 a.m. What? That's not right. Oh, it's a different star. I mean, like every year we started like later and later. It's right here. Like not every year. So like elementary started super early, middle school it started later, and then high school started even later. But that's how you would stagger like the traffic, right? Because it's like, oh, elementary school traffic, you got some downtime. Oh, middle school traffic. Oh, you got some downtime. Oh, high school traffic, right? Yeah, I mean, I had to get to my band practice at like 6 a.m. and just practice. So that was pretty brutal. So like all of football season, like I had to get there early. I'm gonna tell you guys something. Now that we're talking about like swim practice. So I actually dated a Connor back in middle school. Um yeah, I dated Connor in middle school, but like it ended up not working out because one of his ex-girlfriends basically was this like tiny girl who like didn't like me for whatever reason, and she basically told him like, you know, you're dating an Asian girl, like that's so uncool, like no one's gonna want to talk to you, etc. Basically like broke up with me because I was Asian, right? And also one of the reasons why like I hated my identity so much, because so many times I was like rejected by the guys that I liked because I was Asian. Anyways, that's like trauma for later. But I mean, she kind of got her karma in the end, because I mean, I'm sure I've told you guys this story, but she ended up getting the nickname vampire for really, really bad reasons. I kind of don't. The TLDR is that I can't even say this on stream because this is like a sponsored stream, but basically, you know, she got the nickname vampire and her reputation went down the drain like in high school, okay? Um but in middle school it broke up with me because like, oh, he didn't want to like date an Asian person. Um her own avo to kind of um but basically I had like really bad I had really bad like confidence issue, self-image issues because like, you know, he was like my first boyfriend in middle school. I know you guys are like middle school relationships are like whatever, but you know, for me it was like quote unquote like first, not first love, but you know, first like relationship. And then to be told like, yeah, you're Asian, I can't date you, sorry. It's like, oh, great. I wish I wasn't Asian, you know. Hi, John. Um, can I have a free keyboard? Yeah, sure. Um, but anyways, so after that, you know, I just like didn't really talk to him too much ever again. And it wasn't until like high school we had this thing called like an advisory, or I think basically like every Monday we would meet up with like our like a specific teacher that was assigned to our group. And because we had like close names, or our, so his last name ended in Y, mine ended in W, so we were in the same class and we actually like reconnected that way. And he was on the swim team, right? And we reconnected, and you know, eventually like we talked about it and he did say like sorry, and I was like, it's cool, right? But he had swim practice, and he, I remember once he like showed us a picture of like him, and like this guy used to be like a twig, like tall super twig, joined the swim team, still like very tall, but he was like jacked, right? Like he had like a sleeper build, like you couldn't tell, but he had like six pack, like super defined, right? And I like very clearly remember like another girl like in our class was like, you know, kind of like thirsting after him. Um and he's just like this like dumbass nerd. And so for me I was like, damn, like you really, you know, filled out like because, you know, he was a swimmer. Um and I just remember just like, dang, you know, all the people I know in high school that went on the swimming team either got like super bulky, or they were all like ripped in some way, like some form or fashion, right? So I guess it was like really interesting to see like quote unquote like his glow up. And you know, it's funny because we got like we got closer in the end, you know. nothing like romantic, but I do remember there was one point where like I got my heart broken by my next boyfriend, and you know, he was like trying to cheer me up, and he's like, you know, like we were a pretty good couple like up until we broke up, but if you're single when you're like 40 or 30 and I'm single, like let's just get married. And like I had one of those like stupid pacts with him, and at the time I was just like so, you know, heartbroken that I was like, okay, yeah, sure. um yeah, I mean, you know, people joke about having that like pact about, you know, having that friend that they're gonna get married to. And like it kind of felt like a full circle, right? um so I have a backup now, but I basically lost touch with him like um after after we graduated high school. And years later I saw he had like a GoFundMe because he ended up getting like some form of like bone cancer, which affected like his swimming thing. And basically, like, he couldn't do that anymore. Yeah. And I feel like that's like the worst thing is because like you really hone like a skill, and it, you know, it kind of becomes like your personality. And then what happens when that's like all taken away from you? Um, so I felt bad for him, but I think ultimately he ended up okay, and also like had his like own radio show. I've never really thought to like reach out to him to like make sure he was like okay like after the fact, right? But it's just kind of crazy like how like small things like, oh, high school swimming team, oh, Connor, right? I think of the Connor that I dated in middle school, right? And like he definitely fucked me up, but not like direct. I don't want to say like super directly, but you know, it definitely was one of those moments where like I ended up forgiving him, but later on seeing like all that happened to him, and I don't know, it's sad. Like imagine being an athlete and then like, oh, you tear your ACL, or oh, you know, you get bone cancer and you can't compete anymore. Like it's fucked. So, bleh. Sorry. Thinking of high school swim team just triggered all those memories. Okay, but anyways. This is case foam. This is only case foam. Yeah. I mean, it's also hard, like being an Asian growing up and like being like either the token or like out of three, right? I mean, maybe some of you haven't, at least like the Asians haven't experienced that, especially like if you grew up in California. But like me as an Asian in Texas was like very different experience. Yeah, I mean, but it's more common in California to have lots of Asians, I should say. Okay, give me one sec. Okay, this is case foam. Are you talking about like electrical interference or? Dang. What if I get a message from Connor like when I hit 40? He's gonna be like, "Hey, are you married?" Oh my goodness. Okay, so if I unexpectedly get married to another Connor when I'm 40, you guys know what happened. I mean, I guess I do wonder, like, now I'm like thinking, you know, I hope he's like doing okay. I mean, I don't want to have kids, so I'm good on that front. I don't necessarily think kids are rotten. I just don't think like I would be a good parent. Like I don't see myself being a parent. And if I this is gonna sound like really bad, but if I did have kids, it's because it was like unplanned. Like very much like, oh oops. I think so. I mean, it's weird, you know. It we had such a weird dynamic. Like, you know, I was made fun of growing up for the Asian things that I did or had, and now it's like the cool thing, you know, like Asian culture has been, it's not gentrified, but you know, kind of crazy. It's like all of a sudden it's cool being Asian. And like there are people who will pretend to be Asian because they, you know, like that was like unheard of back in my days. So it's, yeah, I don't know. I'd say it's almost like both sides are still toxic. Like, but I definitely think that, you know, how it is now is probably better in the sense of like, you know, at least I'm not being bullied now. But as like an Asian who grew up being bullied for that, it's kind of like, ugh. I think I noticed that shift in college. It's like in school, you know, no one wanted to date the Asian girl, and no one wanted to date the Asians because, you know, ooh, Asians. And now, like, and then all of a sudden in college, it's like, then everyone wanted to, like, date Asians. I also think it's a little silly when, you know, especially like Asian people have that sentiment of like, oh, you know, like there's a stereotype where like, oh, of course, like the Asian girl will go after the white guy. But it's kind of like, we're in America. White people are the majority. Like, what? Like, you know, it's weird because, like, from our pool of Asians, like, sorry, not sorry, but there's just more white people in the pool, right? It's like statistics at that point. It's like, you're really telling me to go after the mid-Asian when I could go after, like, this white person who's, like, not Asian, but is, like, better in, like, all sense compared to this Asian, but I'm expected to just go after the Asian because he's Asian? Like, ain't no way. Like, it doesn't matter what they are. It just so happens that most of the people are white. Like, yeah. I think one of the craziest moments was when there was this guy who I went to elementary with, and he was like a dick. And then we met again in high school where like I want to say glowed up because I didn't glow up until after like college, but you know, like I wasn't like that weird like Chinese girl anymore, weird Asian girl anymore. And I just remember he like sent me a Facebook request like after we met at like a football game. Um and he was like, "Oh, you know, like he basically hit on me and basically said like he was interested and wanted to talk more." And I was like, "Aren't you one who would like make fun of me and like pull your eyes backwards and you know, basically like make fun of me because I was Asian?" And he was like, "Well, like I was younger then and like, you know, I've changed and like basically, you know, was hitting on me." And he I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, you know, like, I don't have fond memories of you." Like, I was very honest with him. He's like, "No, like, when we had so and so, you know, class together, like, I'd always liked you." And I was like, "I wasn't in that class." And he was like, "No, you were. Like, you sat on the," and I was like, "No, you're thinking of the other Asian girl. Like, you're thinking of Kim. You're not, it's not me." And he was like, "Oh, are you sure?" I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, after that, I was just like, "Yep, got the wrong person. Sorry." No, that's a different guy. The guy that contacted me about streaming was the guy who like low-key doxed me, and he was friends with the guy that had choked me. In fact, he was one of the guys on the bus who just watched that guy choke me and didn't do anything about it. I don't have fond memories of that guy. So when he tried to contact me about streaming, I was like, "Yeah, no." First of all, don't dox me. Second of all, like, you were not nice to me. Like, I don't, as someone who, like, suffered those, like, went through those experiences, like, I don't care how good you are now, like, there's just some things you can't let go, right? Oh, were you really? That was actually Akshay. Akshay was the one who was like, thought I was Tim Keyless, and I was like, no. Akshay, what the fuck? I guess I kind of look similar. Yeah, it was actually Akshay that said that. He got a lot of shit about it. I think at the time it was like That was like 2-3 years ago though, so. Okay, this one is no case or plate foam. This is just emptiness. Okay, no case foam, no plate foam. Yes, it is injection molded polycarbonate. Not gonna lie, they all sound the same to me. Yeah, I mean, unless you listen to the clips like side to side, they do kind of all blend together. The foam build, uh, you'll see the biggest like jump from like foam to no foam, but I mean, I honestly think the board sounds fine without foam. Um, but I personally do like the board when it has like all foam. I mean, I just think it just sounds very pleasant. It feels pleasant to type on. But I mean, I do think it sounds fine without it, right? Um, this is a basically $90 keyboard, right? And the fact that it doesn't sound bad, at least to me, so just to preface it, without foam, I think it's like a pretty good indicator, right? Granted, it could be because of like the switches I used, but I mean, the gasket tabs, someone mentioned like it's the same as Vega. I think first of all, like the color of this board is very nice. Uh, I I I don't want to say I didn't like the Bakanego Go because I did appreciate like it was like innovative in the sense of like getting like the injection molded PC and like the thick walls without, um, all the weird like tolerance or warping that you saw. So I would say the Bakanego Go kind of made like the way, but it's just like the frosted PC. Whereas this one, right, not only has ZMK improved, but also they have like the different colorways. And I don't know, I just think, you guys ever built like the Icky, right? The Icky used removable gasket chips, right? So you could really experiment if you want. But I mean, they took something that, the mounting points that's been used on like other boards and they just basically put it in this one, right? Can I do a face roll on the keyboard for us? What in the heck? No. Why? Why? I mean, I don't want to call it just like a plastic Vega in case like I don't want to diminish any of like AIO3's like work or design, but how do I think it compares to the Bauer Light? So Bauer Light feels different, just like overall. But I've actually never built a Bauer Light. I've typed on one, but I haven't ever like built it. So I can't really like give you that comparison, right? But just based on like the layout and also like the aesthetic, it's different. Um, if you like gasket mounted keyboards, and I'd say if you're looking for just like a wireless, you know, beater board, not even just like a beater board, because this doesn't really feel like a beater board to me. It's kind of hard to explain, right? Is there flex? No. No, it's not. There's actually a big cut in the PCB, but with the gaskets, right, and how strong this, or like how much this is compressed, there's not like flex. Personally, I would build this with all the foam just because, I mean, I know some people in charge are like, bleh, foam, but I mean, it sounded very nice. It also felt very nice to type on foam. I mean, sometimes you just want to type on like foamed up boards, right? But the good thing is that, you know, this doesn't sound bad, at least to me, without the foam, right? Assume the price is going to be affected by the tariffs, though. Uh, that's a good, or I mean, that's an interesting statement. I don't know. So it's injection molded, but I don't know like if it's based here or if they use like a factory that's like not here. So I don't know if it'll be affected. But it's the pre-order is already open, so it's already um $90. Like it's already set. Yeah, that's a question for CK. Yeah. Um. Yeah, the price is already set. Yeah. Can I show ZMK firmware like for this keyboard? Like open the page. Let's see. Yeah, I mean it works the same as VIA, so I can show you guys. Okay, so here. So this is ZMK Studio. So USB, take the Photon, connect, unlocking. Okay, see unlocking. Okay, they actually sent me a document for this, so let me find it. You can hit unlock, hit enter. To unlock, hit enter on the keyboard control layer. Okay, let's see. What is this? Reference unlocking. Studio configuration. Let's see. You can also configure it via Bluetooth using a standalone app to hit enter. Okay, give me 1 sec. Give me 1 moment. Say okay, the device will like locked to transition with the studio configurator. Okay, configurator here. Okay, We try to do this. So all it says in the document is to press enter on the keyboard control layer. Please tell me where to do this. Charge whenever you play it in. No PCB issues. You could use the FN. Okay, let me try the key testers real quick. Give me one sec. This is enter, right? Yeah, it's okay. Wait, Callus, like Quirtle's board? Okay, chat, we're gonna figure this out together. So ZMK should work like VIA, but currently it's unlocked. So ZMK Studio unlock behaviors used to grant ZMK. The device will remain locked until a certain time. Okay, behavior binding reference press and studio unlock. Alright, I'm just gonna try. Oh! Right here. Face roll! Okay, how many other creators have you asked to do face roll? Documentation just says press enter to unlock, hit enter on the keyboard controller. Okay, so this is locked. I don't know how to unlock it. Is CMK up and coming tech? Yes. Well, it just says it supports you can unlock it via Bluetooth using standalone app, but to unlock, hit enter on the keyboard control layer. Yes, CMK is Bluetooth stuff. Yes. Also, the battery life lasts longer too. Alright, chat, let's figure this out together. ZMK unlock behaviors used to grant ZMK Studio access changes to your ZMK device will remain unlocked, right? Trigger events can be unlocked, can be configured with Studio configuration. Okay. This is studio for enabling this one. Yeah, I know. But the documentation they gave me is to... Yeah, so they said they bound it to enter key, but it's not working. And it says if it hasn't been added, enter layer. But the thing is, I've been trying these different ones and it hasn't worked. Pretty sure these keys are working too. So it's this one. So this is your layer key. Yeah, like I've tried that. Okay. Definition key. Very overview. Oh boyo. Okay, I mean doing this all right now since this is like not working. So watch. Normally what you would do is you would do this, select a USB port, right? And then you would pair the photon. And then assuming that you have the unlock, you could press, so say it's like on enter, right? So assuming you should be able to like press enter or whatever they bind it to unlock it, then the configurator will look like, it should look like VIA, right? But unfortunately, like I can't unlock this right now. Let's see. Layer 1 key control press backspace. Okay, let's see. This one control backspace. No, that doesn't work. Oh. Well. Layer 1 key control press backspace. Yeah, no. Oh, wait. Press FN and R Alt. Okay, I found it. Sorry. FN. Right. Okay, I figured it out. Fuck. Okay, we did it. So it's FN Alt Enter. Okay. That's the thing. Okay, so this is how you would remap it. So basically, you press it, and then you pick. Like what key you want it to be. So it's like a little similar to VIA, except it's not as like pretty, I guess. So, you know, like with VIA, normally you would like press the key and then you could go through like a list that's all been laid out, but this one you would have to like go through like here, right? Yeah, so you have like the tap. And can I couple? Looks like you have this one, this one. Oh, oh, this is for Mac. Also Mac. Let's see. Can I do caps lock where it's escape on single press but control and corded? That is a good question. There's a lot here. There is a lot here. I'll be honest, I'm not too familiar with ZMK as this is like the second ZMK board that I've built. But I feel like if you want to get like a faster answer instead of me like trying to figure it out, then I'd either ask the Discord for that exact thing. Yeah. You do have mod tab and then layer tab, right? So maybe mod tab would be what you need. Oh yeah, so you can do like all these. Yeah. I don't want to mess up any of this. So let's just do key press. I think you just tap it out. Yeah. Caps lock. I'm going to change this for them. So people know. But yeah, so basically if you want to change it, this is what it would look like, and then you can just... The interface is a little different from VIA, but essentially does the same thing, right? Cool. I should read up on ZMK stuff. Buh. Alright, but before I crash, let's... Okay, wait. Knock on wood. I don't want to jinx it. Okay, but let's do a quick overview before it's over. Okay, but essentially, this is the Photon. If you're interested, it actually went live yesterday. It does. So ZMK is still being like developed in the sense of like they just added like a user friendly like interface. Well, ZMK is like been in development, but in terms of like bringing it and using it like as like simple as VIA, it's like something they've been developing, right? And it started with like Bakaneko Go, because when I first built the Bakaneko Go, there wasn't like a simple interface that people could use without like knowing how to, do like the commands and whatnot. But with the release of like the Bakunego Go, they released the configurator, and yeah, they're still adding features to make it more user friendly, but it's new in that sense, if that makes sense. Okay, but yeah, so this is a Photon. It went into group buy, or no, so the pre-order went live on the 1st. This starts at $89. On the sheet this says 79, but from what I saw, it's like 4 colors and it starts at 80 or $90. But why though? Why use ZMK, right? Or like, why not use like QMK? Is that what you're asking? It's because for wireless boards, using ZMK, Bluetooth implementation is better, and yeah, battery life is also better. Like this one, if it's fully charged, the battery life is like 4,000 hours. So basically it's like half a year. Assuming you don't use the underglow. So first is Bluetooth and second is battery life is better. So Cannonkeys has made the shift to ZMK for that reason. But yeah, so 65%. So this is an injection molded PC keyboard, right? It'll come in 4 colors. Let's see. I'll read the 4 colors out again. You have teal, coral, frosted, and smoke. So this is the coral. But yeah, 65% with this blocker right here. And then I mentioned this earlier, but you'll see that this side, this top piece and this side are flat texture, but then this front lip is actually curved down, right? So for an injection molded keyboard, it's not just like a block. You can see it more on like the side here, right? You can see it has like this nice curve, right? And then following the curve right here, you also see this nice curve on the top piece. And then here you can see the bottom piece kind of poking out, right? But pretty cool side piece. Oh yeah, they did. And then here's the back. So you have the branding right here. So the Cannonkeys logo, and then you see Photon, right? And then the designer AI03. It's a little small A right there. This PC. But it's kind of cool because you can see like everything in the back. I know some people don't really like the aesthetic of being able to see everything, but I think it's kind of cool, right? So seeing everything as in like the case is semi-transparent, or it is transparent. You can see the PCB, you can see all like the structural parts of the board. You can see like the screws, right? If you don't want to see, yeah. But I didn't put like the feet right here. So you'll actually see the foam, right? You'll still see the foam, but it's not like you can really get rid of this completely unless you do what Insty said. But yeah, you'll still see the foam through this unless you don't want to see like the PCB, right? And then here is the USB. So we didn't see this earlier before this was built, but you can see the USB port, and then this is a switch for like the Bluetooth, right? If you want it. And then here is the front lip. So this is a very light board. Like, let's see. Where's my scale? Alright, my scale's gross. Okay, let's see. Yeah, this is like 1 pound, 2.2 ounces. Or for people who are gonna yell at me, it's 514 G's. But basically, it's a very like light board, right? It's almost like it almost feels like a remote, like just about the weight of like a large remote. Right. It's not a 40s, yeah, it's not quite a 40s, but like it's so light, right? And so one thing to note is there's no screws on the outside, right? But you can see the screw points at least on the back, right? And I don't know if you can see this, but it's actually threaded inserts, right? So if you're worried about, for example, like the PC to PC like screw, like some people are worried about like cracking. These do have like the threaded inserts. Oh my god. I just realized I never post on social media. Oh my goodness. That's okay. But yeah, so this does have threaded inserts, but all the screws are actually hidden by the keycaps. And then the screws you actually go in from the top of the board rather than in the back. Hello, Cal, what's up? So here you can see this board is gasket mounted, so it is, the gaskets are pretty thick, so it is pretty compressed. And so I think adding these the threaded screws also helps with that. But as you can see, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 case screws. I recommend definitely for this one, you do have to like compress the case, but whenever you're disassembling it, be careful not to like put one side all the way down. I'd say do the corners loosely and then, so pretty standard like when it comes to like disassembling a case. But if you're someone who likes to just like do one screw all the way down, this one is going to be a little more scary in the sense of like it's heavily compressed, so whenever you do that, it could just cause one side to like be crooked. So just be aware of that. But other than that, disassembly is really easy. You just remove a few keys and then you should be able to take this out. And then if you ever get confused about where the screws are, just look on the back and you can see the threaded inserts, so you know. So let me open this. I only remembered the social parts because my phone started like buzzing. But yeah, so here you can just take it off like that. The polling rate, I'm not sure. Let's see. It might be on the website. I would suggest looking at this. It might list it on there. But they also tell you why they use ZFK versus like QMK. Okay. Well, who wants to ban them? Oh, Frank got it. Wait, Insty got it. Yeah. Mason, no. That's how you get scammed. Okay, but check this out. So, a few things to note here. So first of all, this threaded insert, you can actually remove it, right, if you wanted to. This bottom case, there's the battery module, and then the battery module actually has 2 screws that are like holding it in, right? So in case you don't want to use this for like a battery, you could store whatever you want in here technically, because there is a cover, right? So you could hide your valuables in here if you wanted to. But yeah, these threaded inserts are actually removable if you wanted to. You could hide snacks. But from here, it's actually not clear where the gasket points are exactly, because you won't be putting the gasket points on the board itself. Like there's too many gaps, like you can see right here, for the gaskets to really hold on to anything. So this is one of the boards where, you know, you put the gaskets on the plate. So if you were to get like multiple plates, you would need multiple gaskets, right? Yeah, you can see this says like Photon battery, right? So the battery goes in here. So it's nice that they've actually added a compartment this time for it. And it's a step up from, for example, whatchamacallit, the Bakaneko Go, right? Because they have like a small component, but there's nothing really like keeping it down. But now they've added this component, right? So that's nice. And then here are the mounting points that you can see on the plate. So top has 4, bottom has 5, right? So they don't have a mounting point right here, right? But you do on the bottom. And then one thing to note, this board is hot swap, but the hot swap sockets for the top row are actually flipped. A reason for that is because you can see the cutouts for like the case. So this is where, for example, you know, you would fit it in, right? Like you would fit it in like this. So you can see, you know, this little thing poking out, right? It would go through like that. But the reason why the sockets are flipped is because you have these cutouts, and if the sockets were right here, it'd be way too close. In fact, it might even be like interfering with the cuts right here. So just one thing to note is that the top layer is completely flipped over. It does have RGB, but it doesn't have per key. And if you use RGB, the battery life is not going to last as long. But it does have RGB. No like caps lock indicator, and then the layout for the PCB is pretty much set. However, one cool thing about the board, despite like, you know, rigid layout RGB, is that they've actually added a encoder position right here. So if you guys weren't here at the start, check this out. Look at this. I was looking at the plate and I was wondering why this one switch place looked like so bizarre. So I'll show you guys right here. You see how it's not just like your standard square? And that's because this cutout is for a rotary encoder. They have a hot swappable rotary encoder if you wanted to add it. So you would screw, yeah, the knob. You would screw the 2 anchor points here for the knob, and then it's just like a removable knob. It's interesting that they put it like in the middle right here and not like in this top corner right here, but what I'm guessing is that it would interfere with where the case would close, because you can see it does take up quite a bit of room. And then if they were to have put it up here, it would have interfered with this case point, right? So they've opted to put it right here, right? And it's technically in like the middle of the board. It's not like a conventional corner, but you know, it is right here. So if you wanted a hot swap knob, that is something that you could add. But yeah, so the gaskets on the plate, you know, you got to put it on the front and back. But if you look at the gaskets, they're very thick. So the board does compress quite a bit, especially when you like close it together. But yeah, I said this earlier, but this is one of those boards where you need to put the gaskets on the plate. And so if you are to get different plates, which they are offering, by the way, you would need like a gasket set for that as well. But other than that, like, this board was like interesting to me. I personally liked the foam build the most. And then the board is like so cheap. Okay. I I kind of gave Cannonkeys like a hard time whenever Bakanekoko came out because it wasn't like quite my style, and I didn't think it was like it was cheap, but I didn't feel like it was, you know, worth the buy in the sense of like I didn't think it was like well polished enough, and I just didn't think like it was, you know, a board for me, right? Well, they improved the SAT 75X, but then this one they've then, you know, improved even more. So this is a board that I would actually feel comfortable like recommending. The Bakaneko Go was a board that I was kind of like, well, if you really have no other option and you really just want like a cheapo ZMK PC, smoke PC board, right? Then yeah. But it just felt like something about it felt like missing to me. But this one feels very complete, right? Um, and yeah, you can compare it to the SAT 75, but I actually thought the SAT 75 was um, better than the Bakaneko Go, and it's a 75. But now you have the 65. So Bakaneko Go 60. Was Bakaneko Go 60 or 65? I didn't remember. But basically, like, I do think this one is well fleshed out. And we're gonna look at the product page so you guys can see like everything that you can get. 60%? Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, so you have the injection molded 60% Bakaneko Go. You have the SAT 75X, which is a 75%, and now you have the Photon, which is a 65%. So it's kind of interesting to see Cannonkeys like go through their injection molded phase of like the different sizes. But it's nice because each board they've released, it's been an upgrade from the last one, at least in my opinion. So let's look at the product page so you guys can see it. So Photon pre-order started now, started yesterday. $89. So you have the teal, coral, frosted, and then the smoke, right? So it is injection molded PC, right? The plate is matched to the case, but you can buy different plates. We'll go over that. Wireless PCB that uses ZMK, Photon case gaskets. This is everything you get, right? And then here, it's just all about it. This is nice. But yeah, you can see like the curve. So here's like the breakdown of everything. Here they talk about ZMK and why they use it over QMK. And then here is the layout. So it's all set. And then also you can switch between it. Gallery. I think one good thing to look is that you can get a bundle, right? And then here you can look at the QC disclaimers. So here you want to look at, you know, so they talk about it, right? Injection molded PC, fantastic value. Sometimes there's imperfections. So be sure, you know, with these injection molded keyboards to look at the QC disclaimer, right? But aside from that, Here you can buy the different case parts, and in here is where you can see the add-ons. So this is how the knob would work, right? You have this hot swappable or removable knob module. See, like the two screws would screw on there, right? So this is what it would look like. Hence the weird cutout on the plate. But it is in a non-conventional position, so just be like prepared for that. And then the PCB, so it's just one PCB. And then here are the plates. So the default plate will be a PC plate that matches the color of the board that you got, but you can also get alu, Ever4, and carbon fiber. So if you're like, I'm not a PC plate type of person, you can get different materials if you like. I don't know how it sounds as I only got one, but yeah. Right there. Overall, with the Photon, my thoughts. I feel very comfortable recommending it. $90. You know, it's injection molded keyboards. They are great value, but this one has been fleshed out to the point where like I don't see myself like, you know, as like a builder necessarily. Like for the price point, right? You expect that it be something like that's either fully built or like very easy to build, right? Like you don't want to buy like a $90 board, but it's like a pain in the butt to assemble, right? Because then that would defeat the point. Because if you're trying to sell like a board that people can just like buy and easily build and make like the point of entry a lot lower, I think that is like the way to go, especially if you are, you know, selling these injection molded keyboards. And I think the build process for this was actually very straightforward, right? Hi, Zan. And then I think the assembly was also very straightforward. Like there was nothing about it that I was like, oh god, this would be a struggle, right? Um, very easy to assemble. I'd say the only thing that might throw some people off is like not having a gasket here. But if you're an experienced builder, right, and you know all of this, then, you know, if you are looking just for like a cheapo board that's like wireless and lightweight, then I would actually feel comfortable recommending this, right? And it also comes in like two fun colors, right? I think with Bakanegogo, there's only like the two colors or the one color, I don't remember. But you see with the Bauer Light, like they have a bunch of fun colors. And it's kind of nice to see like with a Photon, there's like the normal colors, but then there's also like the fun colors, right? And then I like the fact that they added like a cover for the battery compartment. So not only can you just like put the battery in, but if you don't do the battery, then you can add like other stuff in it. Not that other people would, but you know, you never know. The fact that there is a cover for the battery, I think is a huge like quality of life improvement. Um, and yeah, I think at least for this injection molded quality, it's very nice, right? I think it's improved a lot. So yeah, that's what I was mentioning, is that if you're gonna get it, like you should also look at the bundle, right? So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this board personally. I thought it sounded really good with the foam. Yeah, 125, yes. Yep. Yeah, very impressed with the board. I'd say out of all the injection molded keyboards that I've built so far, is this one is been like well bought out. And ZMK software is like a little, I don't want to say hard to use, but it's definitely getting there. You know, it's definitely some changes and developments that need to be made before it's like, whoa, you know, as nice as VIA. But you know, it's interesting to see like Cannonkeys go down that route, especially if the battery lasts forever, right? But yeah, I mean, if I didn't already own a 65 huge, maybe. Yeah. It also comes with a web app that you can't use offline. Yeah. Yeah, so I'd say if you're in the market for, you know, a just like a nice starting board, or just like a nice beater board, like this is great in my opinion. And it's also in cool colors. But yeah, I'm gonna, yeah, I would feel comfortable recommending this to people for sure. The Baganeko Go was definitely something that I was like, well, you know, curb your expectations. SAP 75, I felt a bit more comfortable. And then this one, it's like fully comfortable recommending. And they've even like thought things out, like doing like the threaded inserts, right? So yeah. Huge potential but rough execution. Yeah, it's one of those things where like they had an idea and they were like, they had an idea, right? And they've taken in like the critiques, feedback, and they've made this into like a well-polished board. So yeah, I feel a lot better about it. It's a good board in my opinion. But yeah, thank you Cannonkeys for sending this out to me. Thank you to everyone who stayed up so late with me. I know I had a like late night stream and then my stream kept dying, unfortunately. But yeah, thank you Cannonkeys. Yeah.